Hey, this is Dr. Drew Clarke. I'm the Director of Hospital Medicine at Iberia Medical Center in New Iberia, Louisiana. I have my background in internal medicine. That's what I completed my residency in 1998 at LSU. Prior to that, I did 4 years of medical school at LSU. And prior to that, 2 years at UNO getting a master's degree in biology. And before that, I spent my undergraduate years at Tulane University in New Orleans, and I got a bachelor's degree in biomedical engineering. So that was the path that I took to medical school. So that, give you some idea what kind of training is needed to be a physician of any type. Of course, you get your undergraduate degree, which can be in anything you want as long as you hit the prerequisites. But you definitely want to get in touch with your teachers and counselors and make sure that you've got the adequate prerequisites in place for going on to medical school. But you can start anywhere and study anything and go on to medical school as long as you hit those prerequisite courses. And those are things like biochemistry and biology and organic chemistry and things like that. Your teachers and your counselors can certainly bring you up to speed on that. And that would be what I recommend you do right now, starting in high school, is get those basic courses under your belt, and then be ready to take the college courses that will get you prepared for medical school. The job market for medicine is pretty good. It's changing just like everything else is, but I think it's highly unlikely that we will ever live in a world, certainly contemporary United States society, where there are not doctor-patient relationships ongoing. I think that there will always be a need for physicians to personally care for patients one way or the other. There is a lot of telemedicine now, more than ever before, but that's still a doctor on the other end of the line talking to the patient. Of course, there's a lot of mid-levels now that we call them nurse practitioners, physician's assistants, things like that. And those are also great careers that you might want to explore. But I think there will always be MDs and DOs, medical doctors and doctors of osteopathy that are going to be needed to take care of patients. Starting salaries are going to vary a great deal in internal medicine. After you finish your training, when you first get out of medical school, you start internship and residency. You're going to make maybe between $30,000 and $40,000 a year for anywhere from 3 to 7 years, depending on what your training is. And what you want to be. But once you finish as, say, an internal medicine doctor after 3 years of training, or maybe a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon after 6 or 7 years of training, you will, as an internist, possibly $150,000 to $200,000, depending on where you are at this point in the game. And those highly trained surgical subspecialties can make quite a bit more. Probably starting out in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. Personality traits that you need to be a doctor. I think you just need to be a good people person. Some disciplines in medicine are much more interactive than others with patients. Pathologists, for example, spend most of their time examining tissue specimens and things under a microscope and grossly, and so they're not going to be interacting with patients as much, but they still have to interact with people and their colleagues, and of course most of us seeing live patients really have to be able to interact with those people and their families. So good people skills, interpersonal skills, and comfort talking to people, I think, are quite important in medicine. Time demand is variable, but my average work day, I get up at about 5:30 or 6 o'clock, and I get to the hospital about 6:45, and my work day is 7 to 7 technically, but it usually starts a little earlier and often ends a little later. And then I do have a 7-day on, 7-day off schedule that I work now. On my days off, I have some part-time things that I do, but my main work week is 7 to 7, and so it's nice to have that 7 off. That's kind of a typical day of that would be going to the hospital and seeing patients and meeting with their families and meeting with them and talking about their diagnoses and trying to determine when we can get them home. Some people are a whole lot sicker than others. Most people in the hospital are pretty sick, or they wouldn't be in the hospital. And so this can be a fairly intense discipline, taking care of hospitalized patients. But I've found it pretty rewarding after about 18 years of practicing office-based preventive medicine, which I also enjoyed. But I've been doing this hospital medicine, which is a little more intense for the past 3 years, and I've really enjoyed that as well. So I hope that's very helpful to you. That's kind of a snapshot of what it is to be an internal medicine doctor who specializes in hospital medicine, the care of the hospitalized patient. Good luck with everything. Y'all take care.